All right, guys, we are here this morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. It is Wednesday. We got the Fed minutes report later on this morning. What's up, Ava, Stoned, Ray, Marco, K, Ace, E, Jeffrey, Trey, Harry? What's up, guys? Good morning. Yeah, this is day 8. Government shutdown. Gold all the way up to 4,071.50. So gold did run up and break 4,000. Nvidia at 186 is green on the day. If we look at futures are slightly green at 25 ones right now. SPY is slightly green at 670s. Markets are mostly at all-time highs still. Yeah. But again, we're on day 8 of the government shutdown. This is heading into next week where we're supposed to get CPI and PPI and all that stuff. But it's not looking like we're getting any of that right now. We'll see if we... How's the knee? Knee hurts, man. Like, I didn't get any pain medicine for it either. And so it freaking hurts. They tried to give me a prednisone shot, and I was like, nah, I don't feel like my knee hurting and being hormonal. I'm good on that. And so I've just been taking ibuprofen, but it hurts. Yeah, gold over 4,000 at 4,057s right now, 4,058s. Yeah. I'm whining about my knee. I might whine about my knee for the next month. Might as well just get used to it. Yeah, I don't want prednisone. I've had bad experience with prednisone. Not with me, but with people I know. There's no way I'm taking that. I don't care what it does. Throw your adrenaline off for weeks. I'm good. No, you're good. I was up, Pawn. I'm up usually every day at 5:30 Central Time, so 6:30 Eastern. You're good, bro. Nasdaq started to break down a little bit. I wonder if we could buy this dip. I'm looking at the news this morning. We got some news. We got the Japanese foreign minister says, or Russian foreign minister says, maintaining Russia's obligations under the plutonium agreement with the U.S. is no longer acceptable. That's not good. We had the Japanese economy minister Akazawa is expected to depart from his position, according to local reports. Outside of that, we got the Fed minutes report today. We got some other stuff going on. Today, remember, government's still closed. Delaying the release of big economic data. Markets are leaning heavy on any signals, and so we're going to be looking at the Fed minutes report this afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. People might be paying more attention to it. We also have Fed officials speaking. We've got Goolsbee, Kashkari, Michael Barr, Lori Logan speaking today. Gold again at 4,050s right now, hit 4,070s earlier. Dollar strength. So if we look at the dollar index here, dollar index is up, gapping up a little bit today. It's been moving up really for the last few days. Here's an hourly chart. Dollar's been moving up since September. So in Japan, increased speculation around incoming PM has weakened the yen versus the dollar. In oil, OPEC Plus decided to restrain its production hike, adding only 137,000 barrels a day in November, curbing fears of oversupply. There was oversupply fears, and so if you take a look at oil, oil's up on the day. It's at almost 62.50s. BMW cut its 2025 profit forecast, delays in refunds, weaker demand in China. Tesla yesterday did announce its affordable model. I think it was priced at around 37.5 or so, 38 is what I think it was priced at for Tesla. And so if you look at the price action of yesterday for Tesla actually went down on the news, as Tesla usually does. It's buy the rumor, sell the news. But they do have a sub $40,000 model now for Tesla. So That's going on. FedEx lowered ratings are weighing on the stock. JP Morgan downgraded FedEx, driving an almost 2% decline this morning. If you look at FedEx here, Nasdaq still breaking down over the last 10 minutes. Read on the day though. Here's FedEx. It's gapping down a little bit. Confluent up almost 20% after the company is exploring a sale. And then we also had some XAI Nvidia news, I think, that came out this morning, if I remember correctly. I think. Yeah, we also have Amazon Pharmacy is introducing office kiosks to help patients get medication immediately after appointments. SoftBank is going to pay $5.4 billion for robotics producer, one of 4 areas it's investing to realize AI superintelligence. Again, XAI is going to raise $20 billion after Nvidia and others boost rounds. So the financing includes equity and debt in a special purpose vehicle that will buy Nvidia processors and rent them to XAI for use in its Colossus 2 project. So that's the news this morning. Again, we got crude oil inventories later. We got the FOMC minutes report at 2 p.m. Consumer credit at 3 p.m. But again, we are on day 8 of the government shutdown. Not a lot is going on because of that. Oh, you talking about prednisone? Yeah, I'm not a big believer in prednisone. I told them I didn't want it too, and they were like shocked. They were like, "Why don't you want it?" And I'm like, "Because I don't feel like being moody and in pain." Angry, you know. Yeah, gold's the target right now. I mean, gold's up. Nasdaq's still around all-time highs as well, so it's not like it's not volatile either. Yeah, I'm good. I don't want any pain meds, you know. I don't want any prednisone. I'm good on both of those. I gotta get up at 6 o'clock. I don't feel like, you know. When do you guys think the government shutdown will end? I'm ready for it. Does gold? I'm gonna ask. Does gold hold over 4,050 today? That's the question. Does gold futures? Do gold futures hold over 4,050 in price today? That's gonna be my poll for today. 4,050 would be right here. Do they hold over this? Right around. We're slightly over that now. October 15th. I hope it doesn't last mid-November though. I can understand the outlook there though. Like the outlook is essentially like the last one was the longest in history. With how polarized the current president is, I would assume that they might drag this one out, right? I just don't want it to be the longest in history. You know, the last one is in 2019. I just hope they don't drag it out that long. You'll have to look that up, Anton. So the shutdown is essentially every year before September 30th, they have to make a deal for payrolls or for government wages funding, like for funding government employees, right? Is what it really is. And so if they do not get a deal done before September 30th, or before October 1st, if they don't get a deal done before October 1st, the government shuts down in some places, right? It's about 40% of the workforce of the government that shuts down. The essential employees stay on. But again, how do they not classify people who release the data as essential? This is what I don't understand. But most of the essential ones that you'll need are going to stay on. But we're in a data blackout because of that. We're not really getting the economic data we need. And so we're heading into the FOMC meeting in a couple weeks blind at this point in time, and there's risks. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree, William, that both sides are pretty dug in. I'm not really saying it's anybody's fault. I'm just saying polarized, and really what this is about, if you want to get deeper into it, stalemate has to do with the right proposed short-term funding extension. So the right's essentially trying to get an extension, get the government resumed, and then figure it out. The left blocks this, insisting on a bill that includes an extension of the Affordable Care Act, right? And that's really what's going on. They want to pass by the end of this month. Which side is right or which side is wrong is very subjective. I'm not really going to comment on it. But approximately 900,000 federal employees are furloughed, and another 700,000 accepted essential workers are working without pay. And the first missed deadline for the paychecks is approaching for them as well. Again, the release of official economic data, including payrolls, unemployment, labor reports, retail sales, and CPI inflation, that's coming up here. We would get CPI next week, but it doesn't look like we're getting that now. Social Security and SSI payments will continue on time. Local offices are going to be open, but with reduced staff. Air traffic controllers are working without pay. SNAP food stamps and recipients are going to get their benefits, but the WIC program may face funding exhaustion if the shutdown continues. And so that's basically where we're at. Yes, it's over the Affordable Care Act, healthcare. So basically, again, just to go back to it, the left is insisting on a bill that includes an extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies, which they want to pass by the end of this month. Right, so they're basically saying we're not going to agree with anything unless we get this, and then the right is saying no, we don't want that. Let's get a temporary funding secured, and neither side really, is really coming to agreement. Not saying it's anybody's fault. This is just how it goes. All right, so looking at our poll number, do gold futures hold over 4,050 an ounce in price today? 66% say yes, 34% say no. Yeah, Nasdaq dumping down here a little bit over the last 15-20 minutes. Ow, dude. So apparently I had to put this boot on my foot. Something about the spring ligament. They don't want to collapse the spring ligament, and so I gotta wear a freaking stupid boot. And I hate this thing, man. I hate this boot. I have to sleep with it, and I'm a side sleeper as well. I don't sleep on my back, I sleep on my side. And this stupid boot, man, I don't like it at all. I'm sorry, y'all are my therapist right now. That's how I feel, Chris. That's how I feel, man. Yeah, government shutdowns are usually full of political posturing on both sides. I'm not even picking a side, And honestly, I see a lot of, it's pretty split down the middle. Even in the chat, right? Some people in the chat are like, oh, it's their fault. And then other people in the chat are like, oh, it's their fault. They just both need to come together and get a freaking deal done. From what state in the U.S. are you from? I'm from Louisiana. I'm from the boot. If that's what you meant. Yeah. The irony, I guess. Yeah, gold. Up to 4,056 here. I knew you were fishing for that, Fred. I might as well give it to you. That's okay. You know. Well, no, I have a ligament torn in my ankle as well. So, anyways, we're bouncing right here at this low. See if we hold. Here's 25.50s. All right, guys. So we got the Fed minutes today. It's interesting. Nasdaq was at all-time highs. Gold at all-time highs. Oh yeah, dude, I got all messed up, man. Yeah, gold benefiting from the shutdown 100%. Bitcoin is as well. Although Bitcoin did dip a little bit today. If you look at Bitcoin here, Bitcoin back down to 123s, 124s. If we take a look at bond yields this morning, bond yields are lower today. They're at 4.1% right now. 4.1% for yields. They've dipped a little bit relative to yesterday. If we take a look at interest rate sentiment here, heading into the Fed meeting, sentiment for cuts is higher this morning. You can see sentiment for cuts has increased. Yesterday it was about what, 92? It's at 95% right now for a 25 basis point cut. About a 5% chance of a pause right now. So at this point in time, it's 95-5 likely that we're going to cut rates 25 basis points, 5% chance of a pause at the end of this month. Yeah, Bitcoin. Yeah, the October 15th deadline has to do with pay dates for active duty military personnel and Defense Department employees. The military services are considered essential, so they remain on duty during the shutdown. However, there's no guarantee Congress or the admin will appropriate funds, but I think they probably will, realistically. Congress will need to pass legislation or include a provision in time for payroll processing to ensure the October 15 checks are delivered. Let's look deeper into some of these deadlines here for the shutdown here. But yeah, Nasdaq bouncing around 25.67. Gold sideways too. Around October 10th, it's regular federal civilian paycheck. So the current biweekly pay period ends on October 4th. And so the shutdown has continued past that. So many federal civilian employees could see delays in their October 10th next paycheck, which is supposed to drop the day after tomorrow on, is that Friday? Yeah. October 15th is the military and defense personnel checks, right? So as mentioned before, this is the first major pay date that could be disrupted for service members, defense support staff, unless we get acts of Congress. Federal judiciary courts is October 17th. It says it can sustain operations through October 17th for the U.S. judicial branch. Contingency funding. After that, non-judges and non-essential court staff may face furloughs. And so that is where we are now. But again, because economic data, CPI, inflation, labor, jobs is produced by federal agencies, it's creating a data blackout, slowing the flow of releases. It also impacts forecasting for the Fed and all this other stuff. So okay, Wednesday reversal. We'll see. They're buying gold and silver. Yeah, I'm not going to get to train jiu-jitsu realistically. 2 months plus, at least. Depends on how I feel, and even then I'd have to come back pretty slow. Do you compete in jiu-jitsu? No, man. I'm in my 30s, bro. I'm not competing with those juiced up freaking 20-year-olds. Definitely, after this, definitely not, you know. And at my age, I'd be going against TRT dads. I'm good on both of those. All right, Nasdaq bouncing back up. Let's see if we get some movement here. Looking for news. Again, big news today. Fed minutes report. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna cover it, stream it like we always do. Yeah, I've never been to jury duty. Maybe you could short this. Yeah, so Paul said there is a trend in the market. Traders are looking for low flow bio stocks, squeezing them. XBIO is running. Morning. Got up to $25 a share from fours. So you got to catch these so freaking early, though, man. This has been a crazy trend for the last last week or so. We're seeing a lot of small caps get pumped. Yeah, FOMC minutes report 2 p.m. today. We're gonna stream it live as we always do. You think government shutdown will impact rate cuts in a negative way? Depends on what you consider negative. I mean, it'll probably, since we don't have any data to change the outlook, I think we're probably just going to go business as usual. Right now, it's 95% chance we cut rates 25 basis points, and I think the government shutdown is just going to make that even more likely, not less likely, just because we don't have any data to sway that view. Right now, at this point, it's 95% likely we cut rates, and so I think we're just going to stay on that path since we can't really move away from it with no data, if that makes sense, right? So it depends on what you consider negative, but yeah. Yeah, I should have shorted it, dude. I love looking at the 200 exponential on a 1 minute chart. Look at this thing. It reacts exactly to that level a lot of the time. Vietnam officials are reportedly planning for more trade talks in the U.S. in October, according to a local press there. We also have some market chatter that came out early this morning that says Tesla is reportedly abandoning the scheme to begin producing robots this year. And again, Tesla released their new model. Yeah, yesterday the penny stock that ran was GLTO. Just know, like, here's the thing with these, dude. Just know, here's the thing with these. All right, like, just to show you guys these moves. In order to capitalize on this, you need to catch this early. If you don't catch it in the first like few hours of this move, usually it's early pre-market, the likelihood that it's going to keep running here is low, right? And the likelihood that it's instead just going to come back down is super high, I think. Again, not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Understand all this stuff on screen. I am not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Watch all this stuff. I can't guarantee or promise anything. Just, you know. But yeah, be careful with those. Yeah, so Tesla's new cheaper price is just under 40,000 for the Model 3, low cost. It's just under 37,000. He also said the Cybercab will cost under 30,000. And markets wanted maybe a cheaper Tesla here, cheaper Tesla variant. They wanted like a 35 under. Gold spiking up right now. Look at gold. And so markets originally reacted negatively to this news, to be honest. In terms of AMD, AMD's still where it was yesterday, basically 213s. Yeah, we got the Fed minutes report at least today, and then tomorrow we got Jerome Powell in the morning delivering opening remarks. I don't know if he's going to speak on economic outlook, but we're going to cover it anyway. Tomorrow we're also going to have Bowman and more speaking. FOMC meeting is going to be on the 29th of this month. Did you just do a smell feed? No, I've been walking in crutches, right? And on the stream, I thought I saw all this redness under, and I have all this redness under my arm right here from walking in the crutches. And so I was looking to see how bad the redness under my arm was because of the crutches. That's what I was doing. All right, guys. Says the Nissan Leaf, no other EV is below 30,000. Yeah, I still think a cheap Tesla's still gonna get sales. Even if it's not as cheap as they want it to be. Yeah, so the Yankees beat the Blue Jays 9-6. Game 3. I'm personally rooting for the Blue Jays. I think the Dodgers are going to win the whole thing, probably, but... Alright, gold up to 40,060s. All-time high on gold now up to 40,071 for gold futures. The 40,000 Tesla is impressive. Yeah, I think people are still going to buy it. And other market news, I'm looking here, but markets are kind of slow. I'm watching this 25-1 level. We also have like some other highs up here. All-time highs are way up here though. So we'll see what that looks like, but short term, watching this bottom here at 25.58. We're watching this top right here at 85 or so. Can hold over that. The trading yesterday after the opening bell was terrible. It was just not good. The dollar index is doing well though. Gold's doing well still. It doesn't come with autopilot. Yeah, that's a big flaw. I don't know, you would assume that one of the strategies for that type of business would be to get the cars out there cheap and then maybe make money on subscriptions of autopilot or something. That wouldn't be the first time brands did that. We're already in a depression? No, we're not. GDP data's not anywhere close to that. Yeah, the minutes, spot silver is over $49 an ounce if you look at spot silver. NASDAQ edging back up here. Look at this pop. Let's see if this is news related. I don't think it is. Starting to rebound back up here. I'm watching 25-1s way up here. This looks news related based off of the movement we're seeing. See what's Apple doing? Meta, Microsoft's running up. AMD, Nvidia. Nvidia's moving up a little bit. So is a few other ones. NSA, there's not much going on. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the Bengals are just trying to salvage their season. Browns ain't got much to give them anyway, you know. I like Flacco. I hope he gets it done, you know. I mean, gold at 40,557 during a government shutdown makes sense. And again, the shutdown might continue. We got some deadlines. October 15th, which would be next Wednesday in exactly a week, is one of the deadlines that they're going to be paying attention to. Again, I don't know what we're going to get. I hope the shutdown ends before then, and we start getting economic data like we're used to. But no, I don't think the Fed pauses on rate cuts. I don't know, right? We don't know what they do. There's variance with this type of stuff. Like, they could do whatever they want to do. I don't think they pause on rate cuts. I think they're going to cut rates if we don't get any data. I think they're just going to go with business as usual. I said this yesterday, but I think it's absolutely true. I think if we don't get any updated data between now and the next Fed meeting, I think they're just going to go with what the outlook already was, since there's no data to change that tune. So I think they're just going to go with what we've seen already, which is that 25 basis point rate cut's the most probable thing. This morning it's about 95-5 likely that we cut rates 25 basis points. And if we don't have any data to change that and yields stay mostly flat leading into the report, then, you know, I think that's probably what we're going to do. Again, I'm not 100% sure though. I'm just guessing here. Yeah, so the NASDAQ broke a 7-day streak yesterday. Is that true? And I don't really show a 7-day streak. Maybe S&P futures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if somebody considers this. Maybe they're looking at like the SPY. What are they talking about, dude? They're like, oh, S&P 7-day streak. Where's the S&P 7-day streak? We got 1, 2, red, 1, 2, red, 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 red. I guess it depends on if it's opening higher. Here's the E-mini. But yesterday we finally had a solid red day. If this one didn't count, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And maybe people are counting this one since we opened up a little higher. So the E-mini futures would be, the S&P futures would maybe be on a 7-day streak. But we had a pretty big red day pullback, and now we're back up a little bit this morning here. I'm watching 25-1s. So see if 25-1 holds. We had some other news that came out this morning. Wells Fargo raises U.S. growth outlook and sees more Fed cuts. They lifted U.S. growth forecast and now expect 2 more interest rate cuts from the Fed in early 2026. They project GDP growth of 2% in 25 and 2.3% next year, boosted by strong consumer spending and tech investments. Inflation remains above target at 2.9%, but Wells Fargo expects it to ease gradually. Forecast 25 basis point rate cuts at both October and December meetings, plus 2 more next year. That's what they're forecasting. Also, Goldman Sachs says that they don't think we're in a stock bubble yet. They say the market shows some bubble-like signs, but remains driven by strong fundamentals. Tech valuations are high, but leading firms are financially solid, and AI is good, concentrated among major players. They say valuations aren't at a historical bubble level yet, but urges investors to stay diversified. Yeah, I mean, Julio, I don't want to keep talking about the injury. You might be a little delayed on the stream. Hit the live button next to the play button. It is jiu-jitsu related. Tore my meniscus in my MCL and a ligament in my ankle. And I'll probably be out for training 3 months at least. You know. But yeah, we'll see if we bounce at this 200 exponential at 2584s. Bitcoin pulled back some. Maybe we get another run up and test of all-time highs. A lot of people thought Bitcoin would hit 130s. Not quite there yet. Hit 127s or so. So I don't know what crypto. I don't know what crypto's gonna do today. Nobody does. Honestly, we're pretty flat. If you look at like an hourly chart and like the NQ, here's an hourly chart on the Nasdaq here. Like, look at how we're slightly uptrending here, slightly here. You know, but we're pretty flat. We're not really moving that much. We're slowly coming up, but even if you look at just this chart on the Nasdaq here, the big range, but it's sideways. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. This is the range. Not the best unless we're targeting that range, which makes sense, I guess. I'm looking at gold as well, but gold's not really giving me anything easy to capitalize as well. Gold is really slowed this morning. Oil's a little elevated because they reduced the output versus expectations here for oil. And so you can see oil is actually up some this morning. It's at 62, 69s. So, and it's still pushing up here. So oil is bullish today so far. Undervalued international stocks that benefit from AI? Yeah, maybe. And again, expectations, everybody thinks that this government shutdown is going to make rate cuts less likely. I think it's going to make it more likely if we don't get any data. Because what's the last data we got? The last data we got is weak labor. Weak labor data. Inflation was somewhat muted in weak labor data. But if that's the last data we got, that's the last data we got. Tom Lee sees powerful tailwinds. Calls current scenario the most hated V-shaped rally. On Strats, Tom Lee expressed optimism about the economy. AI and dovish Fed. What he's basically saying. I agree. This rally's freaking hated by most people. Most people are not happy about this rally at all. Again, the problem with retail traders is that they're over aggressive with shorts. And shorting the healthiest assets in the world is not usually the smartest move, you know. And so they love to short markets when they're at highs, but most of the time markets keep running at highs. I'm not saying that's what happens here. Maybe they're right here. I don't know. But everybody wants to short this. I don't know why. I get not buying. Like, I understand not buying anything. I'm not really super interested. I bought a couple things yesterday. What did I buy? I bought Home Depot, you know. But my positions have been doing great, honestly. Target's up. SoFi, very green. PayPal, very green. Coca-Cola, green. Hims, green. You know. I'm making money on treasury bills. But I understand not buying. Yeah, the minutes report comes out at 2 p.m. today, Eastern. Why is Apple stagnant? I mean, look at Apple here. Sideways. But I mean, Apple's been doing pretty well here. You put up a 30-minute chart or maybe a little bit longer. You put up a daily chart. Look at Apple. Apple's right around all-time highs. Yeah, Apple's $4 away from all-time highs. I wouldn't really call this stagnant in Apple. You know? Here's all-time highs. Here's Apple. If anything, I think Apple's probably going to test all-time highs. It kind of looks like a buy right here, but you never know. It's $4 away from all-time highs. And so I assume we're going to at least test those levels for Apple. And really, yesterday, just to put this into perspective, yesterday Apple got up to $259.49, which is about 60 cents, 61 cents away. Where's Apple all-time highs? I think it's about 61 cents away. All-time highs. Oh, wait, no, it's, yeah. Apple got up about 61 cents away from all-time highs. So, Apple's very close to all-time highs. It looks like it wants to break it. I wouldn't really call it stagnant. Yeah, quantum stocks are flying up. We got like Rigetti. Although they're dipping down a little bit today, but look at quantum in September. 45s for Rigetti, UBTS, 35s. Guys, are bond prices a good investment for the next 1 to 2 years? Well, if you think interest rates are coming down, in theory, you could say interest rates are dropping, so what's going to go up? Bond prices are going to go up, yields are going to go down, thus TLT and long-term bond price, symbols could increase as rates get cut. I mean, that's a reasonable thesis, I think, but I'm not going to say yes or no. I don't know. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable. If you lose, make your own assessment, trade smart. I think TLT is a little bit longer term bonds, but yeah, and with the higher interest rate or lower interest rate sentiment, TLT's up today. Well, I'm definitely biased. We're getting gonna go up at the end of the year. Yeah. I don't short the market directly, hedging using a VIX instrument. Yeah, I know. I get it, man. I get it. It's a weird market right now, man. It's an interesting market for sure. Again, day 8 of the shutdown is today. Yeah, again, small caps have been going crazy too. If you look at SPRB, this one that ran. This thing is wild though. What's the float has got to be teeny tiny for this one. People are just trying to find liquidity to get out now. The float's got to be tiny though. Like, let me look this up. SPRB float. Got to be like sub 10 million, sub 5 million. Yeah, the float is wow. The float is 450,000 shares, roughly 450,000. Less than a million float. So this is a tiny float stock. It's gonna go crazy. I would just be careful. I'm not touching this thing. Too much risk. But yeah, I'm showing 0.47 million. I kind of want to buy this dip in the NASDAQ though, but also kind of interested in buying gold. Just got to be careful, I think. Gold's close enough to all-time highs to make it interesting. Alright, we tried to buy gold here. Pushing up a lot already. There we go. A little bit off. A bit less than half. Some more. All right, so it says 17% of Americans are delaying a major purchase like a home or car due to the government shutdown. 17%. All right, we'll take a little bit more off here. We'll let the rest work. Sit on it. Yeah, for sure, Julio. 100%, man. There we go. Gold ripping back up here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off right there at the very peak of that so far. Not bad. We'll see if that holds. Yeah, I really doubt rates are going to go higher anytime soon. I think they would just pause. We'd have to have really high inflation to make rates go down, or to make them raise rates, especially in the current environment. I just don't think they're going to be raising rates anytime soon. Rates might stay the same, but I genuinely doubt they're going to raise interest rates. If a recession happens, rates go down, sure, 100%. Yeah, if a recession were to happen, would rates come down faster or go back up? If a recession happened, rates would go down quickly, most likely. Because you got to understand, like the Federal Reserve, let me just explain it to you guys. The Federal Reserve, their job is to maintain balance. But at a certain point, a recession is a larger risk, depending on inflation. And so, if we enter a recession, the Federal Reserve would probably act more aggressively in lowering rates because of the risks to depressions and so on. And so the Federal Reserve, their job is to maintain balance. They lower rates during recessions because that stimulates the economy. When rates are lower, businesses can expand more and hire more people because interest is less. People take out more loans and spend more, and thus it stimulates the economy, right? And the opposite end of that, if inflation is super high and the economy's strong, the Federal Reserve can raise interest rates or hold them at restrictive levels. The logic is the same, but the opposite, in which raising rates makes interest rates higher, businesses expand less, people spend less, and thus it kind of pushes down spending and in turn inflation to a certain extent. If we enter a recession, the Fed might also do a more desperate thing called quantitative easing, which is a form of money printing in which they create online bank reserves and then use those online bank reserves to buy up bonds and MBSs and financial assets, expanding their balance sheet. This injects liquidity into those markets and helps rates fall down faster, which would benefit TLT and yields, or it would lower yields and boost the price of bonds. Supply and demand is what it would do, right? And so, but right now, I think with the Fed, I do not think they're going to raise rates anytime soon. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I think when markets are betting on a easing cycle, it's super unlikely that the Fed is going to say, hey, I know everybody wants an easing cycle, but instead we're going to raise rates. I think that's super low probability. And we'd have to see some massive inflation problems, as well as we'd have to see like strong labor and high inflation. And so betting that the Fed is going to raise rates is essentially like betting that we're going to see strong labor, strong economics, and high inflation. And that's not like, maybe that does happen. I don't think it happens in the next 6 months though. But you never know. All right. That gold trade worked out really well. Silver's also been on a run. Silver. All right, so Nvidia CEO says he did not know about OpenAI's deal with AMD prior to its public announcement, according to CNBC. So Jensen did not know about the deal. The Nvidia CEO asked about how OpenAI will fund the deal with Nvidia, says OpenAI doesn't have the money yet and will raise through revenues and equity or debt. Deal with OpenAI will help prepare startup for when OpenAI is a self-hosted hyperscaler. But he did say that OpenAI's revenue is growing exponentially and they regret that they didn't invest in OpenAI earlier. This is Jensen Huang speaking about OpenAI, Nvidia, and AMD. Again, silver prices officially exceeded $49 an ounce for spot for the first time since 2011, now up 65% year to date. Gold futures are approaching 4,100 here, and a lot of people are talking about 4,100, which is right here for gold futures. Kind of crazy. Curious to see if some of my watches are appreciating in price. Hold on. Let me look this up. They have. Next Fed chair will be a super pumper, maybe. Yeah, I mean, Ramsey, I'm not really disagreeing with you. The only thing that you get wrong is the definitive, way you're putting it. Nothing has to happen. Crashes are incredibly difficult to predict, and most people get it wrong. An example of this is like, look, take a look back. Let's go back through time here. Put the NASDAQ back up here. Okay. Alright, so here's the S&P. Bro, running the stream every single year, everybody says we're gonna crash. Always. And back here, everybody told me the markets were gonna crash. Right here. Right here, really. Like right at the bottom. And they made fun and they pressured and they told everybody it was gonna happen, and then we went up. And then here, earlier this year, everybody said we would be falling down like this. And then we ended up getting bought up really quickly. And so people tend to overpredict crashes. It's not absolute. Maybe it happens. It's possible it happens. But it's never 100%. And there's always variance. You never freaking know. It depends on what's going on when we get another Fed chair. Glencore. No. Yeah, crashes don't necessarily have to happen. Watching this 58 level though, this is the low. Look at this. NASDAQ's breaking down here, chat. Bounced here again. The third time we bounced at this level here at 2560. Top 3 greatest levelers of all time right here. Look at this. We bounced here, here, here. I don't know if we're coming back up here. The market's been in a sideways range. Market might be waiting for the Fed minutes report as well. True, I was one of them, honestly. Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying we don't crash. What I'm saying is that you can't... Again, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So like, you can't look at it like we have to crash. It's never the case. Market might keep running. And you gotta just take that potential into everything. Alright, are we gonna break under this level now? I think we could. Tested it 3 times. 2050 here. We got 25,000 down here too. Alright, now we're starting to fall. NASDAQ dumping down here. No, we're past the 2020 drop here. Here's the 2020 drop. It was pretty minor. S&P's up here now. 2020 drop, we dropped all the way down to almost 2,000 in the S&P. I remember this. We had a larger correction from inflation in 2022. And then we've basically been running up until April of this year where we pulled back, and now we're up there. So, I mean, it's possible we do dip. You never know. It's possible we crash. We could be in a bubble. If we are in a bubble, I'm just going to start buying stuff up, to be honest. After the drops. NASDAQ now technically red on the day. NASDAQ now flushing. Precious metals are going up. Yeah, so Jensen Huang, CEO of Nvidia, expressed desire to participate in almost all of Elon's ventures during CNBC interview. Yeah, so I'm seeing some of this. So Jensen's speaking on CNBC right now. He said, I want to be part of almost everything Musk is involved in CNBC. He said, we're always looking for startups to invest in. German economy minister revises up 25 growth forecast at 0.2%, 2016 at 1.3, 27 at 1.4%. All right, I'm kind of interested in maybe shorting a little bit of the NASDAQ here, a little bit. I'm gonna give it a second and maybe add a little bit up if we bounce. We got 2. Look for maybe 3 if we get a small little bounce here. We're bouncing right in that previous closing price. That's what I'm looking to work. All right, one more. Like 4. We can get out in 2 contract increments. I want to see if we come back down to 25,000 here. It's more probable that we're just going to chop sideways though. I use 58 as a risk here. We're already green on the day. We'll be green even in this position, but rejection at 58. Get a little piece off there just to lower my risk. Stock lockup for insiders on Webull ended. Alright, there's a rejection here. The rejection continues. Yeah, right now the NASDAQ is battling, just to show you guys what I'm looking at. NASDAQ is battling this previous closing price right here, this light blue line. So I just wanted to see if we come back down. Retest down here. The choppy trend is looking a little bit more likely. Yeah, we're pushing up too much. We're still green on the day, but we didn't hold underneath that previous closing price. It looks like we're trying to come back a little bit here. Macy says the consumer has been resilient in the face of tariffs and other macro challenges, and that has translated into the first month of Q3. How long will Macy's stick around as a company, guys? Do you guys think it lasts a long time? I don't know. I'll show you some gold here. I have a link right here for Top Step if you want to check it out. Put the link up. No PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, Gold. Most day traders lose money, so it's a cheaper way to get started. Test your skill with much less risk than most day traders end up taking. So I'll put the link up. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them. Confirm it all with them. I can't guarantee anything, but genuinely, it allows you to get started, get around the PDT rule for cheap. Here's the link if you want to check it out. All right. So yeah, gold is so close to the all-time highs, though. It just got up to just now. It got up to 70 basically. So I think gold is interesting. Um, ISGC says with world copper mine production expected to rise 1.4% next year, growth 2.3% next year. It'll crash until Q1. It's seasonality, no technical. Yeah, y'all do me a favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. My problem is like I always shake my knees and like jump on my knees and like sway my knees back and forth. I'm not really supposed to be doing that right now. I gotta kind of leave my knees alone, I think, right now. It's hard for me to sit still. Yeah, Top Step's good, Sam. Gold dipping a little bit. Nvidia CEO says investment in OpenAI doesn't stipulate that the startup uses that investment to buy Nvidia technology. I think the president's also speaking about some stuff that's a little bit too political for me here. Still watching the NASDAQ. Look at gold come all the way back down here. Nvidia CEO says the US is overall not far ahead of China on AI. You guys agree with that? The US is not overall ahead of China on AI? Kind of. I mean, I'm sure they can catch up as China. Plug's cheap. A bit nervous. It's not that I'm nervous. I always kind of like my knees always kind of go like this or like jumping up and down as I'm working. Maybe it's the coffee. I just can't really do that right now, unfortunately. All right, NASDAQ trying to go red on the day right now. Bounced a little bit though. previous closing price right here on the NQ. If we hold, gold pulled back. Yeah, I'm back in I just took a NASDAQ position. I just want to see if we can confirm the previous close right here. There you go. Take a little bit off here. Pop up a little bit more. Go. All right, so we're up over 100 right now. I'm just trying to see if this continues. You know, we got the previous closing price here. You got to see we dip down exactly to that and then bounce back up, confirming the green day on the NASDAQ. And now we're getting a nicer push higher here. Got another piece. Let the rest ride here until we at least get a little bit higher or break even. I thought it was the opposite. I thought the Chinese chips, especially like what was it? DeepSeek. They use less. They need less power to run them, and they're more chip efficient, but not quite as powerful, but better, more efficient, is what I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I had it backwards. All right, so we're in a position here. We've been mostly buying previous closing price on the NASDAQ. Again, here's the previous close. I'm buying that dip, riding the bounce here. Gold's a little weird. I don't know what it's right around all-time highs. I don't know what it's gonna do. Yeah, you might be right. XA. Yeah, I heard Nvidia did their deal with the XAI. And I think maybe you could probably argue gold's going to move up and break this high level right here. I think it's possible it does. Dollar index has been moving up though. Gold pop. Again, I feel like I'm just going to sit on this NASDAQ position for now. To be honest, if you want to know why I took this buy too, part of it is my algorithm here that I'm building. Again, I'm not telling you to buy anything. But I mean, look. It's not perfect. It's not going to work every time. Not an investment professional. Don't copy me. But yeah. We've already scaled out of most of this. We'll hold the rest break even now. Everybody's shorting gold after 4,000. Yeah, especially with gold over 4K now. All right, so we're probably about to get out of this last little piece of this position here. And I'm holding this break even on the rest. I'm not going to let it go too much deeper below break even. But I'd love to see if it bounces here as well. Got it right there. So we're still over 100 on that trade. That's nice. Yeah, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang said immigration is the foundation of the American dream. Yeah, I mean, robotics, they're probably way ahead of us, I think. And they have been for a while. Yeah, y'all hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We appreciate it. Nasdaq's starting to flush now, technically red on the day. Nvidia CEO says the president's immigration strategy on H-1B visas enable Nvidia to continue to attract the world's best talent and enable them to come to the United States. All right, guys, so Nasdaq now technically red on the day. This is now the time we start to see pullbacks in the market. You think the AMD run is over? I don't know. AMD... The only thing that shocked me is that AMD didn't actually break all-time highs. It got up there to test it, and this is something like this is an aspect of markets that I've been saying for a while. I don't like the high of the day breaks. I don't like buying at high of the days. I don't like attacking high of the days. I don't like any of that stuff. And the reason I don't like it is because I think it's much more likely at the very least that we just test these levels, right? Like I would rather buy the run up to these levels and then sell at the top here versus trying to buy the high of the day and let it run. Why? Because just psychology. I think it's much more likely, like as we get closer and closer, that we're just going to test this range right here and head up in that range and test the high. We might dip down afterwards, but I think it becomes much more likely that we're at least going to test these big milestone levels like these all-time highs in AMD. And that's exactly what AMD did. AMD went up to exactly 227s and tested it. Didn't actually break it though. And I think we see that type of dynamic a lot more than like breaking an all-time high level and running big. And then sometimes we end up pushing back and testing and breaking those levels anyway. But I just think it makes sense, right? Like if this is a big milestone level, let's just make up one. I don't want to attack the break of this, right? I would much rather attack this range to test it. If we start to get up here where we get within a certain percentage of this big level right here, I'd rather attack the range here and then sell towards the top, and then if we correct once we tap that level, that's it, versus looking for some big run after the high of the day. And so with AMD, just going back to it, you know, we got close, but we're not quite there yet. We're still within a range though, so but we already tested it. You know, we already got basically up there. Here yesterday at the opening bell, we got up to 218s. If we look at the last few days, we got up to 227s. The day before that, just didn't quite break it during market hours. The reason it's not registering because it wasn't during market hours. We actually got there the minute before the market opened. And so a lot of people are going to say, hey, we've already tested this level. We don't need to, you know, get back up there. And I don't know. AMD could. It's still pretty elevated and kind of crazy. So we'll have to wait and see. I love you. Good day. OJ. All right, guys. Yeah, I like it much more than breakout trading for sure. Yeah, I think the music's fine. Okay. Why are you deleting the comment, Stormy, every time you post it? The music too loud? Turn it down. Gold is to the overnight crew putting in work. Yeah. Bitcoin hits 1 million. 100K if it hits 196. All right, so Nvidia CEO is done on CNBC. He did say demand for Blackwell chip is really, really high. He urges investment in power generation for data centers before he closed it. Yeah, NASDAQ kind of somewhere in the middle here. One of the levels I'm looking underneath is 25,000. I want to see if we hold at 25,000. I think 25,000 makes sense. Let's see if we hold there. I'm just waiting for the economic data to come out, man. I mean, today we're covering the FOMC minutes report later. Ouch, dude. See, I don't know what to do with my knee, bro. My voice quiet? I mean, we should be at like... And I can turn my voice up a little bit more here. Let me know if that's better. Ouch. NASDAQ back up. Very sideways range, though. Nvidia is interesting right now, though. Look at Nvidia. It's at 186.20s. I almost want to buy the NASDAQ again right here. Most important Fed minutes. Love the stream, especially some of your predictions and storytelling of the economic news. Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Blue Emu? Watching Nvidia, I want to see what Nvidia does. I also might buy a little dip here if we can. We'll try it. We got a cushion on the day we could probably mess with. I need a little dip though. We might not get a chance to. I've got one of those knee braces with the metal sides to keep my knee from moving to the side. What I have right now. Alright, let's see if I get a little pullback here. I'll buy a dip if we get down to like 50s. All right, guys. See if we get a dip. I'll start to maybe add a little bit on this pullback right here. We got a cushion on the day. I'd love to add a little bit more down to 58 as a buy level, but I'll just wait and see if we run up to 75 right here. Yeah, I mean, there's a big support level right here at the bottom at 440.50, I think, right here. That 54s. So, gold breaks under 40.50, maybe it starts heading down. I don't know. What do you guys think? Again, I did a poll this morning. I asked people, do gold futures hold over 40,050 an ounce in price today? 66% of people say yes, they do. I don't know. Nvidia CEO says the only regret is he didn't give XAI more money. And so he confirmed investment in XAI this morning. Again, Tesla's still down a little bit after debuting its sub $40,000 car. People thought it wasn't cheap enough. A lot of people wanted it under 35,000. They ended up debuting it at what, like 37.5 or something like that. 30. I have to look at what the actual price was. All right, here's my chance to add more to this. I'm gonna go in 8. All right, we have 8 contracts now. Micros. Yikes. You don't love to see it. You don't love to see it. I'm gonna give it a second though. I wanted to buy down to 58. Maybe I started adding a little bit too early. The Federal Reserve is an independent entity, I should say. As the Federal Reserve is not the government, despite the name. All right, I'm gonna reduce size right here and take some size off just to protect. I'm gonna reduce about half the size just because we went pretty red and then we got back to green, but now I'd rather not take 8 contracts into this here, even though we did bounce right at the level I wanted us to bounce. I should have bought down here like I originally wanted to. Just got in a little too early. Patience. Need more patience. I am trading the NASDAQ, micro NASDAQ. NASDAQ back at the top of the range here. Gold will spike today. I mean, gold's been spiking every day. You know, the only problem is that eventually the check might come for gold. You know, like eventually gold might need to pull back some just in terms of extension. Gold's been on a freaking crazy run, man. And so I thought gold prior to this might pull back at 4,000. Remember, I've been talking about 4,000 in gold for weeks and weeks now, leading up to this big push. And so the thesis on gold was correct. I think gold wanted 4,000, and now that it's here, the question is, does it pull back? And I don't know. It's a good question. All right, I'm gonna take a little piece off here if it lets me. Yeah, limiting my risk there I think was smart, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to cut that one like I wanted. Even if it keeps running, I think risk management there is smart. Alright, now we're gonna take one off now that we rebounded back up here. Read some analysis on gold. It will continue to 5K on CNBC or MarketWatch. Yeah, I mean, long term maybe, but short term you don't know what it's gonna do, and there's variance. It's not, even if there is analysis predicting gold will hit 5,000. You know, there were people telling us Bitcoin would be at 1 million right now, and you know, analysis is just analysis. It's all speculation, you know. I'll give this one more second to bounce here. If it doesn't, I'll cut it for pretty small. Oh, now we're back green. Don't get me wrong. I think gold's very strong right now. I think the lockdowns, not the lockdowns, the shutdown is good for gold. I think the instability is good for gold. But The real play, to be honest, that I'm bummed out I missed is oil. I should have bought oil a few days ago. I thought about it. I think somebody else mentioned it too about oil, but I should have bought it. I think oil is so cheap, it's likely that it's going to bounce, and you got a couple days ago, you had a pretty significant edge with oil. You know? So, should have bought oil. All right, I'm going to take a little bit more off up here. Gold hit almost 40.70 this morning, or early this morning. Gold did break all-time highs at 40.70, 150 for futures. The question is, does gold hold over 4,050 right here? Here's 4,050. Bad arrow. Does gold hold over 4,050 right there? I don't know. See. Yeah, I've been small with the NASDAQ. I'm not really trying to risk like, we're in such a sideways range. And so essentially me going long here is thinking that we're going to break the top of this range. But we've already taken enough profit to where we're pretty protected either way. But it's definitely not guaranteed. We could just keep ranging here. Like, we could just keep chopping sideways, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. We got the Fed minutes report later. Maybe that'll move things a little bit more than it normally does just because of the dynamic of government shutdown. And yeah, we'll see. Do you guys think the Fed minutes report will move stuff a little bit more than normal today just because of the shutdown? And we don't have economic data, so we're going to look at the FOMC minutes with a little bit more interest. I'm going to cut this in the NASDAQ. That's a pretty fast drop, even though it dropped down to my support level at 58 here. I don't know what just happened on the NASDAQ, but that's a big red candle coming out of left field. So I'm going to cut it and stay green on the day. It's actually not that big in hindsight. It's just a little quick. Like, it was kind of whippy candle. Yeah, where's the Oracle at? Oracle's flat on the day. Which Fed members are speaking today? So we got... Ouch, dude. We have Alberto Musalem speaking at 9:20. Michael Barr speaking at 9:30. Kashkari speaking at 3:15, Michael Barr speaking again at 5:45, and Goolsby speaking at 7:15 today. And then we got Jerome Powell speaking at 8:30 tomorrow, Bowman speaking at 8:35 tomorrow, Michelle Bowman speaking again at 8:45 tomorrow. Powell is, yeah, he's doing opening remarks tomorrow. So. See what that looks like. I don't know what position to put my freaking foot in, dude. Alright. But yeah, Oracle has been dipping down, man. It went all the way up to 3 something, 345 during that crazy run with the news. And now it's all the way back to 284s. Nasdaq's so boring right now, man, on this government shutdown news. Markets are slow. Buying every dip on Oracle. I don't know, man. The dip is a little sketchy to me. It went up to 345 and then profit taking happened. So this is a profit taking dip, not really a overreaction dip, I think. You got to remember, Oracle was at 220 at the start of September. It's now at 300s, right? Percentage-wise, that's a wild move up, and it went as high as 345. And so in percentages, it's a big... Yeah, Oracle's wild. That's what I say. It's just a little risky to me. It's moving too much from my taste, personally. Caught that. Nice, Kato. Good job, dude. US adds 26 entities, including Chinese firms, to the entity list. They're talking about the do not sell list. Anytime something's moving this much, I don't know if it's easy money, Stock King, but maybe, brother. I hope you make money, dude. I'm not really against anybody making money. It's just not really my style. All right, Nasdaq's still heading up a little bit here. Again, maybe I should trust my algo more, but like, look, I showed you guys this morning. Maybe I should trust this more. Nasdaq's making a pop back up at 25.70. Yeah, luckily I'm supposed to go see my I'm supposed to go see an ortho today. Fortunately. See what he's got to say. Yeah, I wouldn't mind 244. I'd probably buy it at 244 just because it's cheap. Again, my SoFi position. Remember, I bought SoFi a few days ago at 26s. It's now at 28s. So that position has been doing me pretty well. Yeah, nothing's definitive. I try to explain this to everybody. Like, nothing is definitive in markets, guys. Nobody freaking knows if the market's going up, down, or sideways. And again, I've said this 1,000 times. I haven't said it as much lately as maybe I should. But generally, the more people think something is going to happen, like 100% definitive, absolute, the more people think something is going to happen, the less experience they generally have in markets. The less they've seen in markets, the less they've been around markets. Because that's how you lose boatloads of money. And so I'm not saying you're wrong. Maybe whatever happens. I'm sure if we crash, you know, a lot of people are going to be like, aha, see, I told you so. And again, I'm not saying we don't crash. I think we mirror the 2000 bubble to a certain extent. And so I'm not against the 2000 bubble thesis, you know, where people are saying AI bubble is like 2000. I'm not against that necessarily. I think that might be right. I'm just saying I'm not going to short the market. Instead, I'm probably just going to wait and buy the market when it happens. I think it's easier money. It's more time-tested money versus trying to pick the top of some of the healthiest assets in the world. Nobody freaking knows. How many years can I expect to trade before I become profitable? I don't know, man. How many years can I expect to do this before I become president? I don't know. Answer might be the same. Or it might be wildly different. Profitability in day trading is not like, hey, you put in 2 years of time and now boom, you're profitable. It's just not like that, unfortunately. Some people are never going to be profitable. Some people are going to be profitable in 2 months, right? There's no answer I can really give you there, brother. Yeah, let me get my crystal ball out. I'll tell you. I'm just messing with you, but there's no real... Like, the best thing I can tell you to do is slow. Slow, steady, small size. Don't take crazy risks. It becomes really tempting to go wild and flash big gains on social media. Ignore most of that. The reality of it is nobody freaking knows. It generally takes years, and most people fail, and 90% of traders will never be profitable anyway. So... Again, we are now on day 8 of the government shutdown. And I'm kind of mad about this shutdown, dude. I'm kind of unhappy, you know? My channel covers economic data. We cover jobless claims, unemployment, payrolls, CPI. Those are our biggest streams. You're gonna tell me we're not gonna have any of those big streams until you dummies over there get a freaking deal done on both sides? Both sides are dummies right now. I'm mad at every side, you know? I'm gonna go get a sign that says, let John at Beginner Trading cover the economic data, and put a bunch of exclamation points. Go protest. You know? Get the government back and running for my selfish reasons. Do it now. NASDAQ starting to break down here. We're at 25,058. NASDAQ starting to flush. I'll tell you when the NASDAQ gets under the previous closing price. This 58 level's been holding, though. It doesn't mean it's going to continue to hold, but look at this level right here. Top 3 greatest level ever. I know, dude. The shutdown might go on for 30 freaking days. I'm hoping it doesn't. You know? Like, come on, man. Get a deal done, guys. Where can I buy one of the signs? Sounds like a business endeavor. You know? Alright, guys. NASDAQ's getting really close to that previous closing price. Yeah, you might be right, work. I mean, I appreciate all 740 people that are here. I appreciate you guys. But it's less exciting for sure, you know. I gotta rant more about my knee, you know. Rant more about the shutdown. Again, let's just put this into perspective, though. Here's the previous close. Previous closing price is 25,054 on the NASDAQ. 25,054. But the previous closing price is really right here. I'll make it light blue. No, this is light blue. Okay, I gotta make it something else. Green? No, that's not light enough. Light green. Fire. Alright, this is the previous closing price right here. NASDAQ's testing it right now. This is why I'm drawing it, is because look at the NASDAQ come down to test this level. Let's see if it holds. It's also been bouncing around 25 and 50. We're here because you bring value and important data. Thank you, Ace. I appreciate it. Yeah, free the info. That's right, Sal. You know. Yeah, we're going to stream FOMC minutes later, so don't worry. We're going to stream it later. So we got some data today. It's just not the data, you know. FOMC minutes is cool. I like it. I think it'll be more in focus because we don't have anything else to look at for the FOMC meeting as of now. I hope it's before the 15th. 15th is actually right around CPI inflation data is supposed to come out. Yeah, look at the bounce. We bounced right around that 54 level. CPI inflation data is supposed to come out next week. I think it was supposed to come out next... Yeah, PPI was supposed to drop on the 16th, and CPI was supposed to come out on the 15th. So October 15th is when CPI inflation data is supposed to come out. The problem is that even if we get a deal done on the 15th, CPI is getting pushed back, you know, because they're going to take at least a couple days to coordinate and you know, work on the release. So yeah, the markets are pricing in a rate cut next meeting. It's 95 to 5% likelihood of a rate cut, 95 to 5%. So it's pretty likely that we're going to cut rates, especially if we don't get any data. It's just going to pivot to the most likely outcome, which is, at this point in time, data. Or at this point in time, it's 95% likely we're going to cut rates 25 basis points in October. So if we don't get any data to change that tune, I think we're just going to continue there, business as usual, with the super high percentage chance of a 25 basis point cut. No data due to the shutdown, no jiu-jitsu because you hurt your knee. I know, man. Listen, I'm in shambles over here. You know. All right, Nasdaq coming down to test 25,054. I don't know what to do. I've been playing Halo. I've been sitting at home playing Halo. You know. If you guys want to play Halo with me, you know, let me know. Do your own CPI? Yeah, I mean, we can look at Truflation. Our raise cuts priced in, probably to a certain extent right now. Yeah, Truflation U.S. inflation index has it at 2.26%. There's a BLS one though. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. There it is, BLS Consumer Price Index. They have it priced in at 2.9%. 2.9% for no, this is August. Gold, yeah, no, gold's back up. I think gold wants to break all-time highs, but it's been in the sideways range for so long now. Look at the sideways range for gold. So, like, here's the all-time high level right at the top, but last time it got close, it came right back down, and now it's kind of moving. Here's the previous closing price on the Nasdaq here. So the Nasdaq is very close to the previous closing price. Halo 3. Halo 3 is the best one, but no. I am an Xbox player. Right, look at the Nasdaq bounce right here, previous close, holding in this range. Man, the markets are boring right now, guys. No, but I've been playing Halo Infinite is what I've been playing. It's pretty fun, honestly. I like it. My son's been playing with me. My friend has been hanging out. So. I've tried Borderlands. Alright. 25 minutes until the market opens, guys. Yeah, I can't use a stationary bike at all, Tanvir. Like, I can't. It hurts to move my knee backwards. Like, it's hard to explain. My knee probably hurts the most. I can bend my knee. I can extend it and bend it and extend it, and that's fine. If I'm standing up, I can't, like, say I'm looking this way. I can't bend my knee backwards like that very easily. It hurts pretty bad to do so. I'm still less than a week after the injury, though. I'm sure it'll get better. Matthew, you get beat up, dude. In Halo. Yeah. Visa and Circle. Cisco seeks to challenge Broadcom, which is AVGO, in connecting AI data centers. Also unveils Silicon One P200 chip and 51.2 trillion routing systems. Good save. I mean, realistically, if my knee was okay, you know, I probably wouldn't even need to save it. Right now, a 12-year-old's beating me up, you know. So, all right, guys, Nasdaq still in the same range. Let's see if gold ends up breaking this whole high level here at 4,071. Oil is starting to break down. We're at 62.40s. I did, JB. I used to play Halo 1 with my friends a lot. And then Halo 2 came out, and then they offered online play, and then... Alright, now we're back up here. Nvidia's right at this... Look at the Nvidia. Nvidia right at the 200 exponential volume weighted average price zone right here. Dude, the pistol was great in Halo 1. It was great. They kind of brought it back in Halo Infinite, but it's not the same. It was OP in Halo 1. Alright. Their knees are definitely stronger right now. I don't know. My favorite was Halo 3. They should bring back dual wielding, you know. Yeah, gold's getting very close to all-time high, guys. It's at 4,068. All-time high 4,071.50 for gold futures. It's up here too. So here's a range. I might buy gold actually just now. We might buy a little bit of gold if it gets over this 4,070 level. Same thesis as before. Where if we get over this last hurdle, we might buy it. Nope, government's still closed, brother. Alright, I'm gonna buy gold down here on this pullback and see if we can capitalize on that range here. We got a big cushion on the day, so we can play with this. See if we pop. We're not gonna take too big a size here. There we go. Took one off just to lock in some profits. Oh, y'all can't see it. I think I'm just gonna sit in the rest. There we go. Yeah, I saw ASTS run. Did see that. I'm gonna give this a second though. I'll put the Nasdaq up here so people can see it. Yeah, I mean, gold is it's all about finding a story. I love it when my entry acts as support too. Look at that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I want to hold gold like over a period of like a year right now because I think there's too big of a chance that gold dips. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit off here, and then I'm gonna hold one of this. Let it chill. All right, guys, 18 minutes until market opens. So we got the Fed minutes report today. It'll kind of take me out of this boring government shutdown. What are they supposed to reconvene? Let me see. Okay, so they're actually supposed to hold their next vote at 11:20 Eastern time. It's unlikely they get them passed. Look at gold rip here. Gold's testing all-time highs. I'm gonna add one to this. I think gold just broke all-time highs. Let me see. No, not yet. There we go. Piece off here. See, we're at all-time highs now. Gold just broke it, and I'm gonna cut the rest of this here. And again, this goes back to the same strategy I talked about earlier, which is like, I don't want the high of the day here. Look at this. I don't want the high of the day right here. I want to attack the range up to the high of the day, because I think it becomes more likely that we test, but we don't break. Maybe we break. It doesn't matter if we break or not. I'm not trying to target that. I want to attack this range right here. Because I think once we get close enough to highs here, it becomes much more probable we're at least going to test it. And I think psychologically that makes sense. And so that's what we did just now. I mean, long-term gold's still going to be fine. It just depends on how much time you got. Yeah, I'm green on SoFi. We're up in SoFi. We bought SoFi a few days ago. It's nicely green again today. And see, look, we broke all-time highs right here. But we didn't actually hold. Salesforce and Vonage are going to combine data across services sales cloud using MuleSoft. Yeah, the Nasdaq's still heading back up. See where it bounced that previous closing price is this kind of like army green line we drew here, right here. You see we dipped down to that level and rebound. Previous closing price, very good level to watch. 200 exponential on a 1 minute chart, very good level to watch. Nasdaq still popping back higher here. Interesting open though. Nvidia bouncing too at 186. You guys red or green so far today? Let me know in chat right now. You guys red or green? Yeah, so the current political sticking point heading into the 11:20 votes today. So today at 11:20 Eastern Time, October 8th, the Senate is scheduled to hold its next votes on the dueling funding measures. The Republican proposal was to fund the government through November 21st and worry about everything else later. The Democratic demand is that they will not support a bill without a guarantee to address or extend expiring ACA health insurance subsidies. They have proposed a bill that funds the government through October 31st, but includes this ACA subsidy aspect. So that is where we are now. Let me know in chat, do you guys think they will get a deal done? Green, red, then green. 16% ROI today. Green. No, yeah, I don't believe so either. I hope they do, though. I'm going to put it out there. They're going to get a deal done. NASDAQ's starting to rise. But I don't actually think they're going to get a deal done. I hope they do, but it's likely. It won't be a compromise. Yeah, we'll see. Again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm gonna start getting like a cup, like a can, you know? It just, since I can't cover economic data. We got the Fed minutes report, that's something. Will gold retest all-time highs today? Will gold test all-time highs, chat? Will it? I don't know, man. To be honest, Nick, what I personally think, how long do you think the shutdown will last? I think it's going to last October into November, probably. I hope I'm wrong, though. You know, of course, for selfish reasons, I hope I'm wrong. My channel covers economic data. If not, my channel is going to be on a drought of economic data. We're still going to have the Fed meeting at the end of this month. We're still going to have some stuff that comes out. We got the Fed minutes today, which is good. But, yeah, personally, if I had to look at it, if I try to look at it objectively, which again, is hard for me to do right now because I want the government shutdown to end. But if I have to look at it objectively, I think it's going to last past the end of this month. Some people are saying it ends before the 15th, which is, you know, there's some deadlines they have to follow here. Again, approximately 900,000 Fed employees are furloughed. Another 700,000 essential workers like TSA and Border Patrol are working without pay. Economic data are paused. Economic data releases are paused. Jobs report, retail sales, CPI, because the Fed agencies responsible are largely shuttered and shut down. Could end any day. Yeah, they're supposed to vote on it today again. NASDAQ's pushing up. Let's watch 25 ones up here. I'm looking at 25 ones. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we get the FOMC minutes report today. 2 p.m. Let me go ahead and schedule that right now. Yeah, we got the FOMC minutes report coming. See what that looks like. 2 p.m. Eastern Time. 8 minutes left, chat. 8 minutes. Oh. Yeah, I wonder if I should change my streams to ultra low latency. Yeah, not getting info sucks. Again, leading into the Fed meeting, I think it actually increases the odds of rate cuts next meeting. So. Or they have, Alright guys, we got opening bell hitting us in about 6.5 minutes. Might buy the 77 level on the NASDAQ if it depends on how close we are, but gold broke all-time highs a couple minutes ago. I don't know if I'm gonna get a dip enough to catch it. 6 minutes. We have 6 minutes until the FOMC. Or not FOMC, I'm sorry, until the market opens. The info is fake. You think the revisions to payrolls were fake? I don't know. I don't think, like, if you go by the thesis of like, hey, it's what they want the data to be, I don't think anybody wanted to see that big of revisions to payrolls. So I don't think that's fake necessarily. I wouldn't call it fake. I would say sometimes it's inaccurate. You know, like payrolls specifically can be inaccurate because of the way they get the data. Gold and stock market rising at the same time. Yeah, from easing outcomes. I wanted to buy the 77 dip. It was right around the 200 exponential. We just didn't really get a chance to. Will gold test all-time highs at the open today, guys? Let me know. Look at Nvidia rip back up a little bit, kind of retraced back down though. It hit 187 or so and then retraced. Opening bell drop, maybe. All right, so the Muslim speech is out. That came out 5 minutes ago. It was, I'd like to thank all the speakers, your willingness to share perspectives. I'd also like the conference, FDSC, my colleagues, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Looking for economic outlook, if he's giving it. I don't think he is. Okay, yeah, there's zero economic outlook in Muslim's speech. Who else speaks? Yeah, zero economic outlook. We got Barr speaking at 9:30, right at the opening bell. We'll see what that does. But Muslim is just basically giving a history of where'd it go? At a banking research conference. Deal imminent? How do you know? Deal where? After the Oracle news, you still don't believe there's an AI bubble? I'm not saying there's not an AI bubble. When did I say there's not an AI bubble? I think, honestly, there could be one right now. I think I've been pretty open about that. The only thing I've really said is that nothing's absolute or definitive, and you don't want to treat it like such because that's where people lose life savings, treating it like something has to happen. And I think that's a risky dynamic or a risky sentiment to have. But I could also agree. One of the things I've said a couple times today already is that I think there are some mirroring aspects of now versus the .com crash and bubble in 2000. I think there's some mirroring aspects of it. Doesn't mean we're going to crash. Doesn't mean we're going to correct. But all right, there's 25 ones up here in the NASDAQ. All right, guys, 2 minutes into the opening bell, around 2 minutes. Yeah, Tesla's interesting after debuting their low-cost car. It wasn't as low cost as everybody wanted it to be, though. When the government comes back, it's not going to be all at once. It's generally going to be... Pawn actually sent me something about this yesterday. He said... So the last government shutdown lasted for 35 days because it happened on December... Okay. I don't know where they're throwing these songs in here. Anyways, the last shutdown happened because it happened on December 21st and Congress went out of session over Christmas and New Year's and didn't come back in session until mid-January. And the last time when they resumed, the previous reports were released 5 days after shutdown ended on the next normal release day for those reports. So that's what happened. But it doesn't mean we're going to see the same thing now, but yeah. Alright guys, less than a minute until the opening bell. Alright guys, 30 seconds. Nasdaq's pulling back a little bit here. Yeah, we can probably expect the same. I think it's something like that, probably. All right, guys, here we go. Here's the opening bell. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on the stream. We appreciate it. There's the opening bell. Let's see what the market gives us. NASDAQ did bounce right here at 77s. We thought about buying that dip before at 77s. But look at gold flush. Gold down to 4,057s. 4,072 is the new all-time high for gold. We hit it about 10 minutes ago. See what we get. Out here doing his best Jack Burton. You say because of my shirt? To be honest, it's kind of difficult to put a normal shirt on right now. All right, look at Nvidia rip up at the open at 187.30s. NASDAQ following its lead here. Gold's still pretty low. No big moves yet, though. Yeah, the other day I walked into a restaurant and there was another guy with crutches. And him and I looked at each other and we were like, you know. We were like, I understand you right now. All right, guys, NASDAQ pushing up. We're at 25,114. Nvidia pushing up. All-time highs on Nvidia are not that far away. All-time highs on Nvidia are 191s. We're at 188s almost. Let's see if the green holds. Look at the NASDAQ rip. Will gold find some bearings here and rebound back up to all-time highs? Again, I think this is mostly driven by Nvidia right now and other tech. Let's see. Apple's up since the opening bell, green. AMD's actually a little red since the open. Microsoft's pushing up as well. So we do have a lot of tech going up right now. Nvidia up to almost 188. We do have some tech rising here. Where's all-time highs on the NQ? I think it's like what? 275s on the NASDAQ here, 275s. Gold did find some bearings down there and bounced some. Remember, today's the Fed minutes report today, so we got something to cover later. Bitcoin was lower this morning. It's still lower. It's not really moving that much. It's green on the day, but it's lower from where it was yesterday, the day before. Nvidia, 4 green candles the first 4 minutes. NASDAQ still pushing up heavier. Driven by Nvidia. Nvidia now up to 188.20s. Now 188.20s. Maybe Jensen's comments on CNBC getting a little delayed reaction at the opening bell. Minutes is at 2 p.m. Eastern time. All right, 5 minutes into the day here. We're going to start to trade a little bit more actively. We get a larger dip. If we get one to like 111s or 110s, I might buy this. I mean, right here, which is right around that previous level. You get a dip down to here. I'm gonna back to whatever. We're almost there. In fact, I'm gonna start scaling into a little bit more right here. I'm gonna look for 2 or 4 total. I'm gonna wait on the rest. There we go. I'm gonna take half of that off immediately. Look at that rebound. Be able to add back if we get down to 111s. I was looking to add a little bit more, but the rebound happened so fast. All right, let's see if we can add some more. 111 level. All right, that's what we're gonna add to. We got 3. All right, we're in 5. Take a piece of that off immediately like that. Look at that bounce exactly at that level. Yeah, we taking most of. We're gonna take another piece off here too. Gonna sit on the rest now. Alright, I'm gonna cut it right there. Up a couple hundred now, that's good. Gold steady breaking down. Gold is right at 4,050 here. I kinda wanna buy gold right now. Try it. All right, we immediately got a rebound in gold where we bought it. I'm gonna cut the rest up here. Yeah, I don't like the retest of it. I never like the retest. Even the retest might hold. Yeah, where do we bounce, guys? We bounce at 110 level right here. You think Nvidia is going to be the one that corrects during the AI bubble? I don't know. If there's an AI bubble, you think it's going to be Nvidia? I don't know, brother. Oh, you mean Meta? Yeah, Meta maybe. The question with Meta is that is its AI system good enough to compete, as well as what Meta has going for it is it has smart glasses basically on lock. It's got VR headsets basically on lock. Its social media influence is less, but Facebook has kind of evolved into like a marketplace. So. But the question is it overvalued? And Meta has had a crazy run the last year, but it's not the, like, where it's at now is not the craziest. So just to put this in perspective, Meta opened the year at about 600. It's now at 720s. So it's up, you know, less than 20%, maybe around 20% actually. But yeah, no, I agree, Nick. The marketplace evolution of Facebook is saved it to a certain extent. I agree. I don't know, I'm so green on SoFi, it dripping down here is not the end of the world. Look at Nvidia got up to 189s here now after Jensen Huang spoke on CNBC earlier. Look at this. Here's 150 right here. Over that. NASDAQ running here, chat. Nvidia up to 189s. Close to all-time highs. Gold did bounce at 440.50. Again, check out Top Step if you haven't yet. No PDT rule in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, some currencies. Great way to learn how to day trade. Most day traders lose money. Doesn't matter what course you take, who you follow. Most day traders are going to lose. And so it's a lot cheaper to lose here. Test your skill this way than fund your own account tens of thousands of dollars and probably lose it. Beautiful way to learn. I'll put the link up. They also have their back to funding option, which lets you reset funded accounts with the same rules as normal funded accounts with them. And so it's useful. Again, most day traders lose. Don't fund your own account. 90% split once you're funded. You get to keep your first 10K prior to that split kicking in. If you fail, you lose 50 bucks. It's the best of both worlds. They're a sponsor of mine, though. I am biased. I get paid by them, so. Yeah, there's the link if you want to check it out. All right, so we got the dip at 150 again. These levels are holding pretty well. 125 is interesting. It just depends on if you think Nvidia is going to keep running, which I don't think is necessarily a certainty, but we're getting closer to those all-time high levels. Meta's actually breaking down this morning. Yeah, it might be a bull trap. It looks almost too clean. It just depends on whether you think Nvidia runs here, is the question. Microsoft's up. I would ask ChatGPT, but I trust you more with this question. What does the FOMC minutes cover? It's a detailed explanation of why they chose to do the thing they did in the last FOMC meeting, which was a 25 basis point cut, the first 25 basis point cut in a year. It'll give you a detailed explanation on what the economic conditions are, potential economic risks and outlook into the future, and more. So it's like a 12-page document. We're going to break it all down right here live, summarize it, show you guys the outlook, show you guys everything that shows up there. But since the economic data that we normally get is muted right now because of the government shutdown, I think a lot of eyes are going to be on the FOMC minutes, and I think we might get more influence and volatility from it than we normally do based off of the current context of government shutdown and everything else. I think we're just going to get more interest in the FOMC minutes report today than we normally get. And so tune in. Yeah, I got you, Pawn. Yeah, I think Barr is supposed to be speaking right now, but he doesn't comment on monetary policy or economic outlook during this conference today, so. Gold did bounce right there at 4,050. GameStop's interesting, but it's been in the same range for so long. I think a lot of the big hardcore GameStop guys aren't even on board with it anymore. It's just been too long with nothing. Did you just buy gold? I bought gold originally right here. Rode to bounce and then sold, and now I'm out. And we're kind of getting a sideways pattern in the NASDAQ. Again, it all has to do with, I think, Nvidia right now. Nvidia ran up to 189s, but now it's kind of dipping down, looking a little weaker, so. Yeah, we'll see. John, why did you just buy a $4,000 gold? For a futures day trade? Because I thought it would bounce short term. So like, really it was 4,050 if you want me to be technical with it. But I bought it because we pulled up back to a pretty big psychological level of 4,050. If you look at what our poll is on the day, we got like what, 800 votes or something on that poll. If you look at the poll asked, will gold hold over 4,050 an ounce? I think that was a level people were paying attention to. And so on a short-term day trading perspective, if we pull back to that level, there's a high chance of like a small rebound. So that's what we did. We bought it, sold on the pop. It came back down to retest it, and now we're out. It's not like I'm buying gold for the next year here. I'm just day trading it. All right, NASDAQ's starting to rebound back up. We'll see if it holds. I'm not a guru for sure. Top 3 least guru person in the world right now. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt, I think. In those exact words. NASDAQ, rip it up here. Broke highs. I don't know why, but 164 I have as a level on my chart. It doesn't mean it's gonna respect it, but 164 I have. Gold's still bouncing at 4,050. You can see how much people pay attention to this 4,050 level here, just based off of the bounces that we get around it. I don't know what to do with the NASDAQ here. I almost want to buy this to see if we move back up there to test 164, but it's too late. Yeah, it's too late. The cook of Wall Street. Apparently this is a kitchen-like office right here. See my crutches over there? You see them? That's them right there. Look at them. Top 3 crutches sets in the world right now. Alright, let me fix this. Alright, here. Alright, there's 164s. It's okay. AMD. I'm pretty soiled as a trader. Man, that hurts to hear, man. You know? I know you meant solid. I understand. Top 3 most soiled ever right here. Alright, look, 164. I've got all kind of lines on this chart too. Look at this. I put a daily chart. It looks chaos, I bet. Look at this. Look at the color tone though. It's kind of nice. It almost kind of fits. Like the green happened as we broke major levels here. Look at this. See? I wish it meant something. It looks like it means something, but it really doesn't. I think I just accidentally switched the color tune of this. Alright, anyways. Back here. Yeah, AMD up to 220s right now. Well, AMD break all-time highs, it might. Gold bouncing right there at 4,050. NASDAQ rejecting at top 3 greatest level 164s right here. It might not hold. It could bounce right here and then go right back up. But you can find a little pit stop at these levels. They can make sense. AMD still breaking highs though. AMD still breaking highs of the day. All-time highs in AMD are what, 227s or something like that? Yeah, 227.80s all-time highs. See if Nvidia starts to run with AMD. That is almost back green on the day. Yeah, I mean, I think it's looking likely that AMD is going to test all-time highs. at the very least today, just based off of this run up. It depends on how much you think AMD is going to influence the NASDAQ if we're talking NASDAQ trades, but it looks like it wants to break all-time highs, considering the run this morning. But listen, I'm probably just going to close it down here. Again, check out TopStep if you want to help support the channel. No PDT rolling futures. Link is in the description. Beautiful way to learn. Most day traders lose. Remember, guys, I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. As soon as I close this stream, it's going to bring you to the FOMC minutes report stream. I expect you to sit there and wait. All right? Because my leg hurts. And so I expect you all to sit over there and wait. You know. I'm going to close the stream a little early because it's going to take me a while to walk out of here, get things situated. So with that said, hey, I love you all. You'll have a great day. I'll be back in a few hours. FOMC minutes report at 12 today, or at 1 p.m. Eastern time today. And so y'all be careful. AMD looks like it wants to break highs here. See? Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, I'll see you guys later. As soon as I close the stream, it's going to bring you to the next stream. Just wait, you know, hang out. I'll see you guys over there.